Hello,
It's Appy Hour
everyone.
Day.
It is. Welcome, everybody, to the party.
Today is our special day where we are promoting everybody to a panelist.
That's right.
So if you see yourself being promoted, that is why. You are welcome to come on camera and
We'd love to see your beautiful face. Let's see. You're
and I'm
doing it. I'm doing it.
I'm starting from the bottom up.
Oh, are you?
Yeah.
I'm starting from the top to the bottom.
Oh, well, that's perfect. Then we'll meet in the middle.
Yep. Everyone's getting promoted. Isn't it a lovely day that everyone's getting promoted? Today's promotion day.
That is not 100% true. I was telling Heather that I was having a moment, having a difficult moment that I'm letting go of a team member today, and that's hard.
All right,
It,
a bunch of people are declining, but I think it's because they've already been promoted. So I think we're good.
I'm eating my
well,
lunch. I don't want you guys to watch me
Well,
well,
okay, thank
words.
chew with
you,
my
but
mouth full.
I hope your lunch is delicious.
Oh, it's great. Great.
And
All
it's
right.
good that you're taking one.
Yeah, trying to anyhow.
All right.
So
I
we
got
haven't done this
notification
in a
that some
while.
people declined to be promoted. So if you are for sure declining to be promoted, let me know and I won't keep bothering you by promoting you.
They may not understand. It's because if they miss that initial comment you
Oh,
said, you could repeat it
got
because
it. Okay.
it would be
So,
scary.
all right. So, all right. Just listening as I do tax returns. Okay, fine. All right. And Liz says we all sound like we're at 1/8 speed.
Oh,
Are we still at 1/8 speed?
does it sound weird? No? Or better?
You're good. You sound normal. You
We
sound
sound
normal.
normal now?
I'm glad.
All right. So here's what I'm gonna do. Here's what I'm gonna do. I think that I have promoted everybody that wants to be promoted to a panelist. But if I have not promoted you and you would like to be promoted to a panelist, then just send me a private message. I think everybody can send a message. If you just send a message to the panelists, then we will let you in. It'll be like knocking on the door. Does that work?
I think that's a great, lovely plan.
Okay, perfect. Awesome. All right. Well, welcome. I think everybody, George, we would love to see you. But you can always come on if you want to join the conversation. I can unmute you so that you can talk. So maybe I'll do that. Is I'm going to allow everyone to talk, and then you don't have to talk. And Candy, I know that you want to come on camera. So where'd you go? There you are. Promote to a panelist. And
Love it.
then, all right. So Beth, you can talk. Dawn, you can talk. Um,
And just last week we were in Judy's client hub happy hour with Catherine. You were there, and that was fun.
it was fun.
That was fun.
Yeah, one of the things that I loved that she did, I was telling Heather, is she opened it up and she said, share wins that you've had for the week. And so I was like, Heather, what can we do? And Heather, you came up with an idea that was, what'd you say? Share things you're working on?
I think it was share what you're going to be focusing on in your firm this year.
Oh, okay.
And it doesn't even have to be your firm. I think share one thing that you're focusing on this year. So I think that's a good one.
I'm going to cheat and I'm going to say the same thing that I said on Friday because it is still true. I am working on my garden.
Mm-hmm.
I am trying to decide, can I put variety of different herbs inside one raised flower bed or should I not raise it? So that's where I'm
I,
currently at with my gardening.
I'm not a gardening person, so I can't help you with the answering that question. So I'm sorry, but let's go around the room. So I'll share next. And I'm focusing on my farm, like buying my farm. So,
That's
um,
huge.
contract for a 2-acre little farmette and get to bring Marley home. I'm very excited. So that's been taking up quite a bit of my attention. And I've been getting ready for scaling new heights. So, yeah.
That's exciting.
Who else wants to share what they're working on besides tax returns?
I'm working on a 3-year cleanup job right now. Hope to have that done here soon.
Nice. I love those
Those
cleanup jobs. Love.
I do too. It's like once you get into the rhythm and you figure out all of the client nuances, it's like those additional years just roll. Hopefully that's the case, but
Yeah, it is. He thought he's been doing it all himself, so we all know what that means when the business owner does it himself.
I saw Vicky laugh. Yeah, we
Yeah,
get
it's
that
sometimes
one.
it's like DIY. It's like DIY, being the DIY electrician. Never a good idea.
No.
No,
Catherine, what are you working on?
A couple
Oh,
things, but my mind is still really very much. Oh, there's two Catherines here.
no, it was you. It's just that there was a little delay, so I thought you were muted. So I said you're muted, but you weren't.
Oh, okay. So it'd be like a Japanese movie where I got my
Yes.
lips moving and then like other sound comes out. Um, so I usually give myself a word every year, and the word I have right in front of me on the sticky here is actualize. And what I mean by that is, I mean, I'm basically going to I was shaking a stick at my practice and what can I make much more efficiency? So I've got the lay of the land. All my clients are really in place. I've taken on a few new. So I've got the lay of the land. Now, where can I tighten it down? Where can I make it happen? You're seeing part of it. Now I'm trying to be more regular and participating in thought leadership and learning. I always say my practice is only as smart as I am, so I have to work very hard for external input. So I'm showing up here. I want to maximize what I'm doing in Client Hub. Looking forward to scaling new heights. I've got a different eye at what I'm doing there. So yeah, I could say that much more efficiently, I guess. So that's what I'm trying to do is make myself more efficient, really learn the software that I'm using and really pound it out. How can I do it better?
Love it.
Yeah, and that's not always easy. It's like one piece at a time.
And I really do struggle with this whole thing about automating and AI. I have trouble understanding, um, what's like what to automate and then how
Mm,
to. So I'm really trying to take a stick at that and then try this overlay on AI. I'm really trying to understand AI in like these bite-sized pieces, like in from the beach, not in from a diving board, just like walk it in. Where does AI make sense to me? And then
You could
talk.
even ask AI, like if you open ChatGPT, where could I automate? And so you could even have a conversation with AI to figure out like, okay, in fact, I've found that ChatGPT knows a lot of the apps pretty well. And so you can even like say, I'm using XYZ app. So what workflow could I automate inside of that app?
Look at that. See? I really just basically have a failure imagination with AI. I think is what I would say. But I don't want to talk too much.
Murph is in the chat and he's chiming in. So
Thank you, Liz.
he's putting some funny things over there. You
Well,
see
we're
me
going to be
with-
talking about AI today. That's one of the topics that we had on our agenda. Anybody else want to share what they're working on for the year? Some aspirations and goals?
I'll share.
Liz.
Can you hear me okay? I'm just
Yes.
in a loud setting. Okay. So first, hi everybody. Um, so I am trying to do more fraud work and less talking about it.
Mm.
So we're getting some of that in the works. Um, Tuesdays are actually my day to do art classes and improv classes. And midday, I come to a co-working space where I thought I was going to wrap my scaling deck, but I forgot my power cord at home, so I only have a phone. But I'm also really trying to get my thoughts together for my book. That's what I
Awesome.
want to work on.
Yeah, that's a lot.
It is a lot for sure.
So do you have a plan of what you're attacking first?
Well, the fraud work, I mean, I don't really, luckily, if I'm down with my firm where I don't have to do a lot of work. So I have capacity if fraud work comes in. So that's what we're trying to pursue right now. And we're talking to some businesses for some potential work. And then if I'm not doing that, I'm just challenging myself to do uncomfortable things like the improv is not something I'm comfortable with at all. The art classes aren't, it's all again, I'm just trying not to do things that are easy for me and trying to do things that aren't necessarily business related and difficult. If that makes sense.
That's really stretching yourself. That's cool.
Yeah, I'm trying.
Liz, you had your hand up too.
I did. And my word for this year has been create. And that is with the meaning of what can I create that the world needs from me? I was thinking there's not much, but then Rick Telberg pointed out that I am very close to 100 episodes on my podcast. In fact, by this time next week, I will have recorded 100 episodes. And I think today, the episode 91 was released. So Rick has been challenging me to play around with Chat GPT and look at the transcripts and try to come up with what the trends are that are happening. What are some of the best practices of people who have branched out of the Sally world of hierarchical, rigid firms that don't allow for any creativity? So, that's one thing. And I'm also writing a book with the working title, How Writing Saved My Life. And this is about how I overcame some tragic events in my life through the practice of writing and how it helped me get into a state of forgiveness, which I think the world needs a whole lot more of these days. So that's what I'm up to.
Love that.
Mm-hmm.
And you're right. I feel like anytime that whether it's virtual writing or it's with a pencil, there is something therapeutic about getting your ideas out and then you can build on those ideas. And sometimes it's building and you're growing this greater idea of what you're headed into next. Or sometimes it's writing to say, I'm not holding on to this anymore. I'm done with it. Yeah, I think that's, oh, you're muted.
Just let it go.
Yeah.
Done with it. It's in the
Mhm.
past.
for sure.
different- Some of it totally belongs there.
Mhm.
Well, talking about new things, I'm going to share my screen for just a second because I just want to make sure that we share what is happening today. Heather and I wanted to do a special episode where we brought all of our friends on, and we're calling it Appy Hour Unplugged. And we wanted a chance to talk to our community because there's so much that's happening right now as far as tax time. And, we wanted to just touch base with everyone and give you a chance to talk about, any of the topics that come out. And, Heather and I, we are honored to be able to be host, but I really think that one of our thoughts is it couldn't happen. We wouldn't have Happy Hour if it wasn't for our community, which is you. So today is really just about our community. And of course, thank you to our sponsors. And we have some exciting Zero things that we're going to share here in a little bit.
Yes.
Other opportunities that are coming up with Zero. But, the idea today was to let everybody come off, be on mic, be on camera. And, we've got some topics that we kind of pull together, but really that's not where we have to stay. It's just some of the things that Heather and I have been seeing in the industry and talking to our friends, our professional friends, and just, this whole idea of we need each other and we need a place to be able to share what we're thinking.
100%. And I think it is important that I love these forums where we can talk about these topics and learn from each other and really use each other's experiences and expertise and fears and wins to, really lift each other up. So super excited for today. And our first topic is it's not even the elephant in the room anymore, right? I mean, it is an elephant in the room, I guess, because it's huge, but artificial intelligence and automation, the AI is here to stay. It's getting faster and better every second, it seems. And so I'd love to hear from you guys. How are you using artificial intelligence? What is, and I think what I'd really love to know is what is the most impactful way that you're using artificial intelligence in your life or your practice? I don't think it has to just be with accounting, even though we said AI in accounting. I think it's in your life as well.
Well, I've shared this a couple of times, so and it's not about me, so I'm happy to share. My dad is a big time user of AI for his dating life. So he's, you just almost put that out, Heather.
Please
So
do
he's got
explain.
Oh, I'd love to. I'd love to. So, with those little apps, swipe left, swipe right, his picture is him in armor because he wants to be the knight in shining armor. And then the other one is, if it seems too good to be true, it probably is. So, whenever it comes to conversating back and forth with different people, it's very AI based. He'll plug in some, make this better chat GPT, and it does. And so a lot of his conversations are definitely generated by AI.
I would love to see his prompts. That's all I'm going to say.
Every once in a while, he'll send me, hey, what do you think about my new profile? And I'm like, oh my gosh. And so then he also shares it with my kids. And so, which is hilarious because then we get to all laugh about grandpa.
Anybody else has anyone else? Yes, I can talk. Has anyone else been using AI in a way that they'd like to share?
I just started a chat on doing some blog posts and then turn it into social media posts and stuff like that. And actually had it even do an image for the blog post.
I love that. I use it with the Woodard report. I use AI to help me with some of the editing and recommendations for flow. So it does a really good job of that. So I'd love to pick your brain sometime to figure out what kind of prompts you're using for your blog posts.
Well, I'm using some from Diane Gilson and some from Mark Wickersham.
Nice. Love it. Yeah, speaking of Diane Gilson, she actually has been writing a series of articles for the past 5 months on the Woodard Report, where she's sharing how she and her team are using AI in their firm. And so really, really great articles if you want to check that out. I'll throw the link
Yeah,
into the Woodard Report in case you're not.
She also has a bi-weekly meeting on Tuesdays.
That's right.
That I've been going to, so and getting ideas.
Awesome.
I asked AI to
Her work
write me a
behind it.
script. And it came in with put this picture here and add this. And as this person enters the room, I'm just asking a script for a little video clip, but it's saying it came in with have this person enter at this time. And here's a background shot and everything else. I thought, wow, this is pretty intense.
Yeah, it's good with timing too. It's like you can even have it time out the spacing. So that's pretty cool.
I can show an example what my husband did recently is he put the we've been talking about going away in the fall, and so he asked Chat GPT to evaluate hotel pricing, weather, and to determine when was the best time to go to Turks and Caicos. And he gave it 3 different 10-day periods. And it evaluated all, and like they had evaluated all these metrics to come up with a recommended time to go for our vacation.
That's cool.
Very cool.
And we're going on vacation.
Nice.
Vicky, you got your hand up.
Yeah, I was going to say that I was asked to sit on the local junior college's business advisory council for their business department. And the subject of AI came up in that meeting. And the professors were like, is that something that you want us to build into the curriculum? And 100% across the board, everybody that was there that participated said, yes, you need to build AI into your curriculum. And to my point, I said, you need to teach them how to phrase their prompts or their queries so they get back the correct or most informative information that they want.
That's a really good point. And so what was the training base? Was this through who?
Through the local junior college, their
Ah,
business department. It was a collaborative between the business, and one of their questions was, do we need to incorporate AI into the curriculum? And the business people said, absolutely. And these are the types of things you need to be looking for, teaching them how to do
100%.
and how to fact check the AI.
Yeah, that's a big part of it too, is that we can't just rely on it. We've got to do some fact checking, but it certainly can do some robust, quick research. You know, our community college here in my local town does a lot of business outreach. And so that's where, you know, for a long time, I got some of my clients. Was through that. I think Vicky's frozen. Candy, you have your hand up.
I was going to say that I've been using it in my marriage. And my husband just hasn't been feeling well, and he's one of those that gets the 99 fever and starts writing his eulogy. But he's been having some ailments. So I put in his entire history, his family's history, and how he's been feeling. And it was crazy, but it came back with these things they should check. And it seems so spot on. So he's going back to the doctor and he's going to get those things checked because he's had these mystery ailments. The other thing I've used it for, which I use it a lot for work and business, but when we're in a disagreement, I'll go to Chat GPT and say, okay, this is, what we're talking about. Please give me some talking points to rebut what he is saying, unless I'm completely wrong. And it just gives me stuff to say, okay, well, this is what he said, and this is what you could respond back with. Here's some facts, here's some statistics. Because I'm not quick on my feet. So doing that, I get some information and I could go back and have a further discussion.
I love that because all it's doing is it's helping you to spark some other ways to communicate different
Yeah.
perspectives, which we all need, especially whenever we're like tunnel visioned into, well, this is what the way that we're thinking about it.
Yeah. Yeah. It's been pretty cool.
I love that. Jean, what are you doing?
I was going to second what Vicky said about education on AI. Was it last month? I went to University of Michigan and there was an alumni panel that came out or a panel for alumni that came out and spoke here in Boston. And it was the whole panel was around AI. And they were talking about how they have a course in AI, they like beginning AI they have to teach, which was interesting because they obviously have to have the students use AI. And what was around was like how they crafted their prompts to get the responses, but then also the critical thinking skills around the results that they get so that they understand whether they're actually real or not. And I thought that was actually really fascinating what they're doing there. And first, I mean, I just had a simple thing, well, kind of simple. We had an issue with a client, and my team was working with this client, and there was a person there who was not good to work with. And I was fortunate in that their CFO was open to comments, and he asked me for feedback on the employee. And I'm like, okay. So I surveyed the team. I'm like, okay, I can't send what they wrote for me, so I put it all in ChatGPT, and I said, give me a nice summary. And it did. There was a constructive comments. It pulled out the right points, and it was to be able to send that in a way that was anonymous for them.
That's good.
And it's not perfect either. My husband's law firm, they're starting to use I think something called Harvey internally for the law firm, and he decided to just for the heck of it have it write his personal history. And it created a whole other family for him. He's got another wife, 3 kids. They all like he lives in Wisconsin, is a Packers fan. It's hysterical. And then it also said it said he was had joined his law firm like 20 years ago, but was also a founder of it. So you can't believe everything comes out of it.
That's so real.
It was fine. We were just laughing. I'm like, when were you going to tell me about her?
I'm so sorry.
Right? It's how you want to find it on it.
Yeah, I love that the direction of the way that we're using it is not all work. It's encompassing, other things too. Yesterday I was making a happy birthday card for my daughter. And it was like, I want to say all of these things, but they're not going to fit into a birthday card. And so I asked ChatGPT, summarize this for me. And it did a very, very nice job. I changed it a little bit, but it took my scattered thoughts and put it into something that was really pretty.
I find that it does that too. I'll write something and then put it in like, or if I'm struggling with a way to phrase something, it does a really great job of kind of restating it in a way that gets me in the right track, right? And then the other thing that I use it for is, and this is built into so many applications now, but the summaries of things. So like if you do like for example, when Joe and I do the Woodard Report podcast, and also with Appy Hour, we do the same thing. We take the transcript and we have AI draft the beginnings of an article about that podcast that then we can tweak and go through. And so some of the prompts that I have found that work really well is asking ChatGPT, because that's the one I use the most, to check itself. So for example, I was working on an article that was summarizing a roundtable conversation that we had here at Woodard last week. and I asked it to pull out some quotes from the conversation from some of our members that would fit in well into that conversation. You can actually read the article it published today. And when it did it, I actually had to go back and say, are these the verbatim quotes or did you paraphrase them? Because it will paraphrase them to make them sound better. So it had actually, but I know, and we were talking about the critical thinking, I know to ask that. Whereas most people that, aren't in the content creation business don't know to ask that. And I know because I've had egg on my face. So where you go back and then you're like, wait, that never. And the way I checked myself early on was I would actually go back to the transcript and I would take the quote that came out of ChatGPT and I would do a find and it wouldn't find it. And so then I realized it was paraphrasing. So that's something that as you get to, using it, you can kind of learn the tricks to make sure that aligns, that it doesn't get a little too creative. The other thing that you can do is you can actually set like a creativity threshold, right? So a temperature is what they call it, right? Where you can say, I want you to be, have a creative temperature of 5, which is basically middle of the road. Or I could say, I want you to have a creative temperature of 10, which is like be as creative as you could possibly be. So you can play with those temperatures, and you can actually add that in your ChatGPT and other applications into the personalization where you can tell it things about you. And it really helps. It really helps to make it more accurate. And it does, now it's starting to learn from you because now it's looking across all of the chats rather than just looking in a specific chat, which is kind of cool. And I think that's a setting you can actually, you can change if you don't like that. I do like that because I like it learning from me. And we have the Teams plan. So we have a little bit more security than if I was just doing the free plan.
I hadn't thought about the temperature, like how much can you change? How creative can you be? That's a really good call out.
When I'm doing the editing, because I've built a GPT that does the editing based on our submission guidelines and the formatting that we use. So we have different formatting and different characters that we use. What I'll do is I'll tell it, do not change the wording. Do not change any of the wording because I don't want it to change the words of the author, but I want it to highlight where there could be some inconsistencies to make recommendations, and in some cases as the editor, you just make the changes if they're simple, like a comma was misplaced or there was missing a comma, those types of things. But in other cases where you're actually changing the wording, if it's a lot, we'll go back to the author and say, here's some recommendations that we have. So that's how I'm personally leveraging it in my career. Not in the accounting space, but in the editing and the content creation space. Oh, Nancy's here, and I'm going to promote you, Nancy, to a panelist. She said she just participated in something and has something to share. So,
Oh, cool. I think that Nancy's joining.
Okay, let's see where my camera, I have one of these cameras that looks for me. Let's see if where it takes it you. You might be looking at the ceiling. Okay, let's see. Hold on. There you go.
It's
It's kind of
you.
funny that you're talking about this because I just got back on being on a panel discussion, which was so much fun. But for like accountants using AI, right? And it was and using AI, and it was given by both the Georgia Society of CPAs and the Technology Association of Georgia. So it was a lot of fun. But it's interesting, once you start tinkering, you get the courage to try lots of different things, right?
That is so true. It
And
just
watching like
begins with
other podcasts on like what other people are doing. It's great.
I agree with you, Nancy. It's all about just diving in.
Yeah, I can't wait. There was a podcast recently that I haven't had a chance to really watch it yet, or a webinar. I don't know what it was, but anyhow, it's definitely something I think you're going to want to watch versus just listen to. but it was somebody showing how they had AI like write code for their FP&A that they were doing. And it's almost, you know how like when software at first and people were like having proprietary software made, and then that turned out to be a disaster because it was so expensive, but then too expensive to keep it updated, and then there was all sorts of other stuff. But now it's almost like taking what's out there and making it like you can get it to do stuff for you that's like proprietary for you or your industry, exactly what you want it to do. And so it's almost going to be that things are going to go back to being highly customizable or highly customized for, right? This industry.
I agree. I mean, I think that there's a whole lot of softwares right now. And Judy on Client Hub, she was even talking about it on Friday, that there's a lot of softwares that as quickly as they can possibly develop right now, as soon as they get it to a live status, it's antiquated because there's another available technology that's going
Right.
to help to make it even better. So
And
a
there's
lot of
this
developments
whole
taking place.
like website of like these people making apps like themselves. I think it's called Lovable or something like that. And then you can test each other's out, but then some of them go to market, and it's kind of interesting. And then like I'm trying to do this. How do I do that? It was I forgot how I got wind of it, but I lost some time, playing over there too. What a time suck this can be, but boy, is it fun.
It is fun. It is fun.
It-
And right now we're just in this testing spot where we're trying to figure it out.
Yeah.
We're all trying to figure it out. I think that the developers are trying to figure out what they can do with it. So
Right.
it's a cool exploratory time.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely. I think, the thing that we were talking about on Friday, Liz, and we talked about on our last episode of Happy Hour, is the fact that we don't have any regulations right now. So
Right.
that's something that is something of pretty big concern to us. I keep hearing people say, if you're thinking about the risk, if that's the first thing that jumps to your mind, that you're already behind. But we're accounting professionals, and so risk is something that we kind of need to pay attention to. It's kind of our bread and butter, right? We mitigate risk for our clients and their businesses, and so that is what we strive to do. So I
Right.
think that it is something that we really need to be paying attention to. So that's something that I'm watching or trying to watch very closely, is how is that going to shape up? The EU they passed regulations in May of 2024. So that should give us some expectation, hopefully, of where we're going. But it'll be interesting to see how that shakes out. And it'll be interesting, one of the conversations that I had with Randy Johnston is, the financial impact of these tools are very powerful and they're very inexpensive, right? And so because they're so powerful and inexpensive, it's really easy for a business to rely on this and keep their cost of goods sold really low. But what happens if all of a sudden this technology that they're relying on isn't inexpensive anymore? We saw this with QuickBooks Online. It was $5 a company, and now it's $100 a company, right? So we need to be paying attention to that, because, becoming too reliant on this technology, and then you have, a huge increase in price, that could be catastrophic to a business. So that's something that we just want to keep in mind as we're leveraging this into our processes and, fitting it into our business model.
And it could easily happen because I think, that I saw, and it makes sense, that the biggest limitation for it and what's going to slow it down which is also going to make it more expensive, is the power, the access to power that it takes to do it all, right?
Right.
That is a limit.
It's the same, they said blockchain and crypto is going to be everything. And I studied blockchain like long before it became like a big deal. And I kept asking, and no professor, I was studying it where at the time it was the only place that was offering a certified like degree in it, right? It was, and I kept asking this question and nobody, not even like the professor, right, were answering it. And I said, at what point, you keep saying everything's going to be that way, but I said, but there's a certain point where it's not worth the energy to be mining for every little transaction or thing to be said by it, that it just makes sense to do it with checks and balances and like in a debit and a credit, right? And like where there are checks and balances. And because it's really the energy, and that's also what slows a lot of that down, is the energy it takes to produce the results is going to get to the point where, you know, and it's going to become more expensive, and it's going to become, right.
Well,
It'll have to
and,
be because it's testing.
and also for the modeling, right? Because it's so data hungry. Right,
Mhm.
this is why like digits to me was the first thing that was really
Mhm.
AI in our space. And you know, it was at no cost for your first 5, including your
Right.
own firm, but that's because it was so hungry for the data.
Right.
I look forward to seeing kind of where they are now, but you know, got excited and then kind of retracted, realizing how the privacy may or may not be there,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, it's definitely, I think it's still the Wild West personally. Which
fun.
not afraid of the Wild West, but I'm aware that it is the Wild West. And I think that's really the approach that we have to take.
Mhm. Well,
Especially when we are the gatekeepers for our clients'
Correct. Yes.
private data.
I agree. I agree. Talking about new and the things that we're seeing, one of the topics that I wanted to throw in here was this question about remote work. So this is another topic that I see on the news, on social media, and I'm curious, are your clients talking to you about this idea of going back to a brick and mortar location? Are we seeing that with our small and mid-sized clients?
I think hybrid is absolutely the way. You know, a lot of my clients are in New York City. We move remotely pretty quickly, but almost all of them do hybrid, and that works very well.
There's some of
I think
the top firms are bringing, KPMG notably, a couple months ago announced that they're bringing back their teams to a hybrid, but they haven't said that they're not going that they're not going to do away completely with the remote model for their team members. So I think there's a couple of things in play here. One is that we've got, the people that own these buildings that are losing tons of revenue, right? These buildings that are sitting empty because everybody's now working out of their homes. So I think that there's some financial pressure there, to get people back into the buildings. And then, I think there's also some people that do abuse it, right? So they don't work well, unsupervised. So I think when I was younger, I was definitely one of those people.
that's a fair point. I mean, I think that in our profession, most of us are remote. So
Mhm.
it is favorable to be remote and to support remote clients. So I
I
think that the trend is definitely there still for us.
I
True, but
think
I
you're
don't
right.
necessarily want my employees to be remote. Like I think learning and training and sensitive data, especially if anybody's got like paper, paper statements or something. Uh,
And And what I was going to say to that, Liz, is that in our space, like in our community, in the space that we are immersed in, you're right. Most of us are cloud-based. Most of us have remote teams, at least hybrid teams. But I don't think that we are the norm. I think that the larger accounting space is very much still brick and mortar. And so it'll be interesting to see. And I think that those are the businesses that are really calling back their teams. They had, embraced the remote to get through the pandemic, and now they don't need to do that. So it'll be interesting to see if it really pulls back, right, to brick and mortar mostly, or if we continue to see the remote work get larger. Cynthia, hi.
Hello. So I have a little bit to say about this. I don't have an answer, but I have something to say. I own a CPA firm and I own a payroll company. My payroll company is 100% remote. My employee lives about 2 hours away from here in Oklahoma City. My clients do not care, not one bit, that we work from home. Um, my CPA firm is purchasing another CPA firm that is 100% work from the office. And so we've been figuring out with the team, we have 5 that are used to working from home. We're spread out across the state. We used to have an employee in Florida. Um, And now we have 6 employees that are not used to working from home. So now we're trying to maneuver that situation. So it's been very interesting the last 6 months or so, trying to figure out what we're doing. And we all have our opinions.
Liz, we have polls that we forgot about. So I'm gonna actually launch one of them right now. And I'm going to start with our first topic, which is the future of AI in accounting. So what do you think will be the biggest impact of AI in your firm? And the options are displacement of traditional roles leading to restructuring your firm. Your firm will adapt and use it to increase efficacy and automation. The need for upskilling and adapting to new AI-driven workflows or minimal impact. AI will be a tool, but not a major game changer.
It says hosts and panelists can't vote is the only problem.
Oh no!
So you
Yeah.
have to do like raise of hands or something.
Oh my goodness. All right. Well,
Yeah, you let us in one door and
Womp
lock us
womp.
out of another.
you could throw your answer in the chat too. I mean, it's not scientific. We were just curious. So number 4. Yeah. I think definitely short-term number 4 for me. I think it will be a tool, but not a major game changer in the short term. But yeah.
I think displacement of traditional roles leading to restructuring.
Long term, yes.
Yes, long term.
Long term, yes.
Well, that's the
And I
future
think
of
that
professions, right? That's what we've learned through scaling that guy, the future of professions.
yeah, Daniel Suskind.
Yes.
And I think he's just written a new book called A World Without Work. So
Ooh.
yeah,
That's an enticing title.
right,
Yeah,
right.
think of the gardens. Think of
All right, I'm gonna go ahead and share the results here, which we've got a couple people have added to that too, which was the clear winner anyway, which was my firm will adapt and use it to increase efficacy and efficiency and automation. So which is the way we have to go. I mean, I think ultimately, I think that if you don't embrace AI, you'll get left behind in the long run for sure. I've always been one of those that I want to know what's happening, what's new out there, even if
Mhm.
it's not something that I'm going to dive right into. I want to know how it works and what it means. So thanks for doing that. Let me see if there's another one that I need that we've already talked about. I don't think we've talked about the other 3 yet, Liz.
Well, we've got about 10 minutes. I love
Okay.
this one.
Oh yes.
There was a little bit of talk about this when we first joined, and it was, what are we doing to take care of ourselves? Especially whenever we're super busy, tax deadlines, new clients. I mean, this is the time of year where new clients come and find us, and we've already been maxed out with the clients that we've already got. So, does anybody have anything that they're doing to personally care for themselves or team members? Heather, you go horseback riding.
So I actually don't ride anymore, believe it or not. I mean, I do occasionally, but my horse is retired. But what I do, which is my is one of the definite ways that I take care of myself, is I do barn chores. So I go out at least 5 days a week and I shovel horse manure and I groom Marley and check her feet and I feed the horses and the pig and the goat and and lift things, lift big 5-gallon buckets of water and carry them to things and pour them. And so, yeah, it's fun.
I got office space. I got myself out of my house. I got office space. Not the first time, but this time I made it walkable. And now this spring, I'm walking to work and walking. So I'm at least getting in that. And I'm really, what it's also doing is it's allowing me to keep work at work. So every now and then I have a little bit of work to do that I have to on the weekend or late at night. But for the most part, I've gotten really good at separation, and I didn't have that before in the house, and I didn't even realize what a blend it was until I left. So, and now with the weather, I can see now the way I walk, flowers are blooming now. I saw my first tulips today, so there's
You
that
know,
too.
it's amazing how much a walk can change your perspective.
Yeah. Yes.
Nancy, you got your hand up.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I promised myself at the beginning of the year, and I've been pretty good with it. I realized I was not taking time in it. I just wasn't ever outside other than to like go to the car from here to there. And so it's like I've been insisting, even in bad weather, but I haven't been necessary. I have missed days here and there, but just getting outside and going for a walk, right? And then getting out of it's that like mentality I have that once I start doing a 2-hour walk, then okay, every time I walk, I need to walk 2 hours. And I said, no, I don't. I could take a 5-minute walk even, just get fresh air, right? And so I don't always have to outdo myself and then have that be the bare minimum because then that prevents me, right? But it's that little stuff and being much better about the boundary of when I'm stopping work and spending more time with my son because I realized I I was just letting things slide and I wasn't there for him like I need to be. So
I think that's really easy to do in our profession because we can be so tunnel vision in our computer screens. That just amplifies that tunnel vision. So it's something that I had to be very mindful about to separate, here's my work. And then I actually, starting last year, what I do is my family thinks that it's sad, but it's not sad. I go to my closet. And so I have just a little bit of closet time after I end work because I'm still processing some of the things that happened. And I've got a candle in my closet. And so sometimes it's like I really need the candle to kind of pull myself into a different thinking. But the concept is let me finish thinking about all the work related things so that way I can be present for my family in the evening.
And I was just letting everyone know that you have a big closet. It's not like you're going into a broom closet and sitting there with a candle.
The lit flame, yeah.
Yeah, it's a pretty big closet.
My daughter, she was like, Mom, this is the saddest thing that I've ever seen. And so she decorated it for me.
She
Oh,
like,
doubled
okay.
down on it.
They did, yeah. And so I have a sheet that's a curtain. And then she gave me a pillow and then she puts on the wall some pictures. She was like, remember, we're a happy family. And I was like, really, I needed a place to, we've all done it. It's like you end work and then you start talking to the family, but you're still stuck on how do I resolve that client issue? And so I
Judy, I
really
love that.
be
I love
present.
that. And you could do that with a walk. You could be like walk out of your office, especially because this is a real thing when you work from home, right? Which is why, when I'm moving to my new house, I was trying to figure out where am I going to put my office? Where am I going to put my bedroom? And I was like, well, the room that will be my bedroom is actually really big. I'm like, maybe I'll just put my office in there. And I was like, no, because then that now I'm in the same place for both personal and business. So
Those are.
yeah, so I think it's really important to do that for sure.
I love it. I'm just catching up on all of the
And
chat.
pets too. Like
Oh,
I'll let
100%.
when my kittens come in and jump in my lap, even if I'm still working, there's some kind of a break as soon as they jump on and I kind of feel their little fuzzy bodies, and or even just looking over, like one of my cats over is sleeping on a little cat shelf over there. Just looking at it is like soothing to me.
Mhm.
Him, he's not an it, he's a him.
The tuxedo one, I know.
This one is Spanky the tiger kitty.
Oh, the orange.
One, yeah, I have two orange ones, and that's Spanky, and I think I have the other orange one might be in here too. But and then I've learned that my cat's not a tuxedo, he's called a cow cat.
Oh,
Yeah.
I wonder if that means mine is.
I had never heard that. I thought that they were, yeah, but there's like a whole Facebook group for cow cat owners. So, which I'm
Who
now
knew?
part of. Who knew?
You're now a part of.
I do think it's important to have your office, if you're working from home, be like, I have a very clear boundary that I won't do work anywhere outside my office, so it doesn't start to go everywhere in the house, right? And so if I leave it, that has to be, I left it.
Yeah.
But
Same.
it's a little too easy and too close to come back to it. Maybe I should have put it in the basement
Hmm.
next time.
That's
I
a
agree
good
with you though. I think
philosophy.
it's important to be able to shut that door.
Mhm.
Who works on a laptop and moves your laptop around to different locations in your house? No. No.
Really
I need
does.
my big
Vicky?
monitors,
I
right? I need my
do.
big monitors. So.
Yeah, just for little work I do.
Sometimes I do. Sometimes I'll bring my laptop downstairs, but like when I fractured my foot, I would sit on the couch and I'd bring it downstairs.
It's interesting because Vicky, you also raised your hand. It's interesting whenever I do move my working space, my perspective changes too. So, sometimes it's like if I'm working on something that I can be more creative and I don't need two monitors, it is nice to leave my space.
I work in this really nice library. Once a week when I have to take my son somewhere for a few hours, right? And then I just drop him off at this class he takes. And it's a really nice library. They've got like a fireplace in it and stuff like that, and you could reserve a private room. And I find I'm actually really productive there because I have less things all around me calling my name, right?
Hmm.
I'm getting to really enjoying having that like once in a while, not in, work from home thing, but in this one room where there aren't any other distractions. But only once a week.
Well,
Well, Liz,
sometimes it's just enough. Yes, Heather.
it is. We just have about 2 minutes left. Do we want to let them know what's coming up over the next couple of weeks?
I would love to. Let's do that. So, our YouTube channel, of course, all of the webinars that we do are available. Today will probably not be there. I'm not sure exactly. We wanted to really open it up. So today's kind of a special thing. And of course, our sponsors, we want to say thank you to. And then here is the big thing, Heather, that I think you were getting to. So,
That's exactly right. So we are on April 8th. We'll be going over zero training with My Task LMS. So we saw a preview of it today. It looks amazing. And Liz and I are actually going to be going through this training and providing our feedback. And we'll be talking about those of you that had indicated that you would like to go through the zero training together as a group. We're going to be starting that very shortly, and during that episode, we'll be talking about what that program is going to look like. And for those of you that have already indicated your interest, we have your information. We'll be reaching out, and for those of you that haven't given us your information and would like to join, you'll have the opportunity to do that during that episode. And then we're going to be doing a firm spotlight on April 22nd and a deep dive with Client Hub on May 13th. We'll be learning about new features and the specifics of using Client Hub. And Murph, this is not the advisor certification training. This is we're kind of just doing it together. We're hoping that this will lead to the advisor certification training. So we've decided to go through this journey together with our friends, our Appy Hour friends. We're really looking forward to that, and we hope you'll join us.
And so our first piece of it is going to be My Task had offered to show us around their Zero training, and we wanted to kick it off in some of those basic things, like how do you enter a bill and how do you enter an invoice? So we're going to be starting with the basics and then just kind of moving our way up.
And then Catherine's asking if we're going to have a pre-Scaling New Heights session. We will definitely be broadcasting from Scaling New Heights, and we will probably be doing some fun things leading up to the conference. So
In Appy
stay
Hour
tuned.
space.
What's that?
In the Appy Hour space. So like for those of us who are attending Scaling New Heights, but maybe aren't Woodard members, I don't know
Oh,
if you're
love
going to
that.
do
Oh, that's a great
like
idea.
a free session.
Yeah, that's an excellent idea. And it looks like Murph is sharing that QB Talks will be having a pre-Scaling New Heights session as well. So, and I am participating.
Oh. Yeah, I'm glad I could give the prompt.
Yeah. There'll be more information coming on that. So wonderful.
Great.
All right, everybody. Well, have a wonderful rest of your Tuesday. Thanks for joining us today. This was a lot of fun and a lot of great insights.
I loved everybody coming on camera and going off mute and chatting. So good to see your faces. Good to hear your voices.
Thank
All right,
you.
we'll see you in 2 weeks.
Thank
Bye, everyone.
you. Bye-bye.